I know I've got a few people that are great, familiar with my book because it's been out for about, over a year maybe, I think over a year. I'm in my second edition. So I want to make it simple. So this, in all of my culmination of however many years I've been doing this, I believe there are 8 factors of well-being that contribute to creating health. And if you want to put it in the negative, then when these things are not working properly, it creates dis-ease in the body. So this is where I focus. And I'm also a coach, so I believe in allowing people to begin where they're ready to begin. So what I do with this wheel, if I'm working with someone and I say, where would you like to begin? Pick one. And then, based on that, we start working. And what I'm going to do today, I've been asked to do, is particularly pick the digestion one, because not a lot of people talk about poop and the gut, and it's a very important part of being really healthy. So one thing you can do with that wheel is look, if the middle was 0 and the outside of the wheel was 10, and you thought about where you are on a scale of 0 to 10, if 10 was, yeah, I've got that down, like the digestive 10, if you were a 10 on digestive health, that means you're pooping 3 times a day, you don't have any digestive issues, you have fluffy floaties, and I'll explain what they are soon, and the digestive system is working really properly. And there is a really good reason why you want to aim for that result with your digestive system. Because what is going on in your body is going on in your life. So if you wonder, you've got a symptom in your body, it's telling you something, and it's probably related to something in your lifestyle. Who believes that? Okay, yay! Wow. You know, there are some people that have never given that a thought. Some people think that symptoms arrive in their body just by coincidence. It's like, oh, I've got that, oh. They don't tie it to something in their life. Now, we can't always do that. I'm not saying that everything has an understandable reason. Like sometimes cancer shows up and we can't explain it away. Or if we go to the environmental issue, we can probably have a good shot at it. But most symptoms are there to give you a message. And the gut, who's heard that the gut is your second brain? Oh, we've got such an educated audience. Well, after today, you will never think about your gut the same way. So your gut is your second brain. What does that exactly mean? Well, this particular slide is probably one of the most important ones of my whole presentation, because this gives you the science of why the gut is so important. So 70 to 80% of the immune system is in the gut, in the digestive system. 70, 80. So if your gut is not working properly, you're going to get sick in many different ways. And I've got a list coming up of all the different dis-eases that can be related to improper immune system because the gut's not working. Now, most people have never realized this. And I remember Liesl Huber, Jordan knows who did, oh, there you are. Liesl Huber, our WTA tennis player, who is a member of One Body, let me say. Yes. I asked her as an athlete, I said, Liesl, if there's one thing you could take, just one product, one food, one precaution, health precaution you could take as you travel, because these tennis players go to over 50 countries in a year, and then they have to perform at maximal peak performance. I said, what would you take? Now, I've probably worked up to this, and you probably can guess what it is, but what do you think it is? What do you think Liesl said that she would take one product that would be the best precaution for her to stay well? A probiotic. A probiotic. I was like, wow. Now, of course, I know all of this information I'm sharing with you, but of all the things she could take, and she said, why? Because if your gut is not working properly, your immune system not working properly, you're going to get sick, and tennis players cannot play well when they're ill, and they're on planes all the time being exposed to bugs. So probiotic, and I'm going to talk about a probiotic in a little bit, but this shows you the power of the gut. And then 80 to 90% of serotonin, the feel-good neurotransmitter, is made in the gut. Most people think it's in the brain. I'm sure we're going to hear about mental health in just a little bit. And whenever I think about mental health, I think of serotonin. The reason Prozac works, Prozac is a serotonin booster. It helps boost serotonin. Well, so does a healthy gut. So, and you have to feel good emotionally. And Mom, I don't have to talk about mental health because you're going to get, I'm so excited that we have a speaker right after me. And serotonin helps us feel good, perform well. It is our stress shield. So when we're stressed, it helps us stay more balanced. So then you think, well, then there's a whole enteric nervous system in the gut, meaning the gut, it has its own nervous system. When we were in utero, if you imagine all of us sitting here, once upon a time, were little fetuses growing in our mother's bellies. Isn't that just an amazing idea? I don't think I've ever said that from the stage. And, and the interesting thing is our gut nervous system grows before our central nervous system, for our brain and spinal cord. So the enteric nervous system can operate in and of itself on its own. That's why when you say you have a gut feeling, really is a gut feeling. And that's why while you're sitting here today and you feel motivated and inspired, don't let your brain do all of the deciding for you, because I believe your gut is the best wisdom seeker of your life. Had I listened to my brain, I would never have left Australia. You crazy, you're going to leave your country, you're going to leave your profession. And I listened to my gut, and boy, am I glad I did. So to show you, and by special request, I brought my little friend here. The guests will probably think, oh, what is this she's doing? So I had a gut made. So this is your esophagus, just in case you're wondering, okay, give me a visual of this. And this is a very large stomach, by the way, but visually I need you all to see this stomach. And this is a gastroesophageal sphincter here. This is a sphincter that stops the food refluxing back. If you have reflux, it's probably related to some deficit in this sphincter, and that can be caused from spicy food, it can be caused by stress, it can be caused by physical inactivity. Most of the things on my wheel can contribute to reflux. And so you want to be sure when you're sleeping that you elevate your head of the bed. That's why, because the sphincter needs to be elevated. Anyway, who up here, you're nice and tall. Can you join me just for a second? Because I want what I want you to do is you're taller than me.
Yeah, I'm a tree.
What's your name?
My name's Menelik.
Menelik.
Yes, yes.
And where are you from?
I'm from Beloit, Wisconsin.
You're from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Wow, Wisconsin. Okay, so what you're going to do for me is you're going to take the esophagus, and what I want you to do is I want you to walk down that aisle. Just keep walking so we can show people, how long it is. So just keep walking down the aisle. This is the small intestine, the first part, that's for absorption. And then the last part, keep on going. We've got 25 feet to go. And then this is the large intestine coming. Oh, okay, we're nearly there. Okay, so this is 25 feet long in the average adult. And then this end here determines, remember I talked about fluffy floaties? So if you have fluffy floaties, your gut is working properly. If you have stinky sinkies, the stool has been there way too long. So you're probably dehydrated or you're not exercising enough, and I'm going to give you a list of things. Okay, come on back and let's bring this gut back. So I always feel like Sterling Otterson when I do that, and I'm fishing. The big fisherman. Thank you. The perfect little model. Thank you. Let's give him a round of applause. So this is where most of your immune system is, and this is where most of your serotonin is made. So are you convinced that the gut is really important? Okay, all right. So what are we going to do about it? How can we keep it really healthy? The saying that we are what we eat is not enough. Because we could be eating good food, but if we are not digesting and absorbing, if this gut is not working, we're not getting all the goodies from our food. So it should actually say, we are what we eat, digest, absorb, utilize, and excrete. And I'm telling you, the excrete part is really important. These fluffy floaties are a real determinant of how well your gut is working. So what are we digesting? I guess I don't have to tell you you know what's available in our everyday culture. And that's why we are in this room, to make a difference, right? We're up against big players trying to market obesity and poor food choices. Let's face it, our culture is about marketing poor food choices. So we've got some work to do to help people take baby steps. I was just talking last night on the phone to a family, and there's all kinds of, their kids have eczema and asthma. So when I hear of eczema and asthma together, I think inflammation. And the first thing I think of, what do you think the first thing I think of is? Well, I think of food, because food is medicine, and I think of the two main allergens, which is dairy and gluten. And the first thing in their household is to reduce, not eliminate, because you can't do that with kids. You can't just pull it all out and change it all at once and they'll rebel. So just to gluten and dairy, just to pull back on those. And then to have a Nutrimeal shake for breakfast every morning, because it's gluten-free and it's really rich in a good nutritional makeup, and then put a probiotic in that. That's what I recommended. Very simple baby step. The kids won't notice it too much. Call it a chocolate shake. I don't care what you call it. Call it whatever you need to for it to work. So we need to take baby steps to what we're faced with in our culture, because one of the legacies I want to leave in my lifetime is to reduce the crazy increase in type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is reversible. It is reversible, and you don't hear many doctors say that. When I was in medical school, 2% of new cases of type 2 diabetes were in kids. Then in 2000, 30 to 50% of new cases were in kids. And then in 2010, 70% of cases were in kids. Now, type 2 diabetes is when you have too much insulin, and it's usually related to too much high glycemic foods. And then the insulin gets tired, is what I like to explain, and it doesn't work properly, so you get insulin resistance. Heard of that? Yeah. And high insulin causes weight gain, so that's why sugar is fattening. Let's talk about sugar a whole lot more than we're talking about fat. We've become a fat-phobic culture, and meanwhile we're getting fatter because of sugar. So I think most people are asleep at the meal, meaning they're letting consumerism brainwash them. So they need to come to things like this, and then you take this message to your community, just a simple message. It doesn't have to be too high-level science, because people won't change anything, but to give them actual baby steps. Now, the thing people most ask me is, well, what's the transit time in your gut? Now, people ask me this, so I thought, okay, let's take a look at this. If you had breakfast, then hopefully you did have breakfast, and hopefully you had a healthy breakfast. Maybe some of you had a Nutrimeal. Yes. Protein, good carbs, good fat. Yes. And for 2 to 4 hours, it sits in your stomach. Then the small intestine, where all the goodies are absorbed, about 1 to 5 hours, and then 12 hours to get out the other end. So about a 12 to 24-hour process. But I'm here to tell you that not many people achieve that. I think the average is about 48 hours. And I've had some people, because I talk about the gut, and it's a subject that's very important, and people come up and say, you know, I go to the bathroom every 3 or 4 days. And I tell you, that's not uncommon, hearing that. So you can imagine what I think about in terms of inflammation in their body. So if you have any symptoms like heartburn, gas, nausea, reflux, it means something. And it could mean, now this is a list. Remember I said to you that I have a list of diseases related to immune system deficiency, or overactive immune system, or underactive immune system. All of these illnesses can be contributed to by the gut. I'm not saying caused by, because in medicine we have to be really careful that we don't say A equals B, because in functional medicine everything is connected to everything else. And this comes from the Sonovive Nutrition Advisor Certificate. Who's been to Sonovive? Whoa, a lot of you, yay! Functional Medicine Hospital down in Mexico. that teaches all about food as medicine and just doesn't teach it. We get to live it. We get to eat all that good food. So you might be surprised at some of this list that, wow, how could, say, rheumatoid arthritis be related to the gut? Yes. Any inflammation. The first thing I ask is, how is your gut? And I recommend everyone be on a probiotic, a digestive enzyme, and fiber G. Because the gut, functioning of the gut, in my book is right up there with the essentials, with the basic nutraceutical cellular support. And there are some things we can do, and I have a list for you. So here's what we can do. Let's get down to the actual what solution. So to make it simple, because we have to make it easy for people to change. Do you understand that? It's too complex, and nutrition is too confusing. So the way I've laid it out for you, and I want you to take this message out, like we're not just here alone and with the live streaming, we're going to take this out to people that are not here. The first thing is to reset the body. Because for a lot of people, they're in an inflammatory state, they're in a craving mode, and they've got to jump start. So reset, then remove, like I was saying about my family, remove some of the gluten, remove some of the dairy. So I'm going to talk about what to remove. Then re-inoculate. I thought I'd put in a really good medical word. Re-inoculate. And then replace. So those are my 4 R's. And let's have a look. The first thing I do with my clients, as you probably are not surprised, is the 5-day sugar cleanse. Who has never heard of the 5-day sugar cleanse? Never heard of it? Oh, okay. Who has done the 5-day sugar cleanse? Oh, yes. Okay, so the way I like to explain it, where I want people to be, the ideal world, let's make it over here, where people are eating all whole food, all organic, all fresh food, no processed food, ideal. But the standard American diet, of course, far from this. So most people are over here. So to get from here to there, big jump. They need a jump start. So I see the reset as the bridge between where most people are and where we want them to be. See, some people get confused that this is something that they're going to live on forever. No. The reset as prescribed, 3 NutriMeal, high-quality NutriMeal shakes a day. The supplements are in there, the health pack that you'll see at the back there, the health pack, protein snacks to keep the blood sugar stable. The whole idea over here of reset is to be a beginning, resetting the body metabolically, getting rid of the sugar cravings. Sugar is a drug. Many people are sugar addicted, and we need to do a detox, a cleanse of that addiction. And this is amazing. It takes the sugar cravings away in 5 days. I know some people may not believe that, but I say, trust me, I've done it. I couldn't believe it after 5 days that, wow, I thought sugar cravings was something that everyone had all the time. So you start there with reset. And then what you are teaching people. See, I think with education comes long-term change because we're looking for long-term behavior change. So we want to stabilize the blood sugar. Some people think it has to be sugar-free. No, the brain and body need carbs. It's the spiking of blood sugar. It's the spiking of insulin that creates a lot of the weight gain, especially around the middle. And it's not carbs that are bad, it's the kind and the amount. So glycemicindex.com is a website, fabulous, fabulous resources. Just happens to have been started by the University of Sydney, but that is a coincidence. Because a lot of the really good research on glycemic index has been down under, but I can't claim any fame to that. It's just a coincidence. And what we want to do is get people off this spike, spike, spike. Because this blood sugar message is also mood. This is what your mood looks like when your sugar's out of control. This is what your thinking looks like. This is what your performance looks like. I was speaking to a bunch of major companies in Chicago on Thursday, and we started talking about healthy people, healthy business. If people are eating poorly, which they are, some people go to the vending machine in their office in the morning and they get a Coke and a Pop-Tart. That That's how their brain is going to function. That's the kind of productivity that company is going to get out of those people. Crash and burn. So we've got big messages to talk about how to stabilize your blood sugar. Then the second R is remove. So we're going to put good, we're going to detox, we're going to jumpstart, and then we have to start removing some of the toxins. And I shared with you my family last night. But one of the things I'd highly recommend, I love, love, love this book. Who's got this book? Yes. The Healthy Home. To me, it is the best resource for detoxification. Because if you have toxins in your body, you're going to have more inflammation and more dis-ease. And this goes through every room of the house and shows you how you can clean up that room. For example, in the kitchen, get rid of your Teflon pans, and because Teflon is carcinogenic. And in your bedroom, make sure all the personal care products that you use are paraben-free, preservative-free. And Usana, Dr. Wentz, in his brilliance, created the Sensei line, which is preservative-free and uses its own botanicals to preserve the product. Most natural products have a very short life because, like a banana, something's natural, it's going to oxidize. But Dr. Wentz has a patent on the actual botanicals preserving themselves. That's why Sensei has such a good long shelf life, and it's still a preservative-free product. So the more you can do to decrease your toxic load, then the less inflammation you're going to have. And I educate people about this while I do reset. So when I have my Sugar Buster groups, people doing reset, my next one is May the 12th. I do it all on the phone because I want this message to go global. So I do everything virtually so people wherever they are that are ready, because you know, you can't, and you don't want to push someone into this. They've got to be ready. And then you have these amazing testimonies, which I'm sure you'll hear today, about people who have changed their life, and then they can be a role model for someone else. And I talk about this book during my reset because it's all part of the cleansing process of your life. And I often give people that as a gift. And there is our fabulous Sonavive. If you really want to learn about detoxification, go to Sonavive. Sonavive.com, Functional Medicine Hospital in Mexico. These are some of the actual food. We actually got cookies. You see those cookies? We got chocolate, gluten-free cookies. We were at Sonavive together last year. And the food is fabulous. I was in Sonavive some years ago, and the food is nowhere as good as it is now. It's amazing. And it's right on the ocean front, so the whole environment is a detoxified environment. Because I would be remiss not to say that the food plan, the exercise plan, the stress plan, my whole wheel, all of that is important. And sometimes we forget that environmental factors cause 80 to 90% of cancers. So we have to become aware of what our environment is doing. Some things we cannot control, like the power lines, but some things we can control, like taking your shoes off before you go in the house. Who does that? Yes. Why do you do that? Because as we're walking around, we're collecting all the toxins and the preservatives and the chemicals from the road and the ground and the grass, and we take them into our house. So this is what the Healthy Home is all about. And there's dry cleaning products. There's a chemical in California called PERC, P-E-R-C, that is used in most dry cleaners that is carcinogenic. And yes, it's been outlawed, but not till the year 2020. Crazy. So there's a website, nodryclean.com, you can go to, put your zip code in to see where a good local dry cleaner is that uses green products, low chemical products. Okay, so 3, inoculate. What are we going to put back into the body? And this is where we come down to my digestive tips. So this you take a picture of with your phone, with your iPad. This is the one I want you to share. So, probiotic, not surprising. I had someone on Thursday ask me what a probiotic was, and I know sometimes I assume people know what things are, but break the word down. Pro for biotic bacteria. So these are good bacteria. Most of us have had a lot of antibiotics in our life that have done wonderful things for when we've needed it. However, it's also taken away the good gut bacteria that we need for digestion. And that's why I believe, including kids, need a probiotic. And I love the little powder ones. I'm sure we have some back there. I travel with it all the time. I take one every day when I'm traveling just because of the extra stress of travel. And literally, I just open the pack and I throw it down. Does anyone do that? It's so easy. I don't know why for so long I opened it. I mixed it with water and tried to get the consistency. And now it's like, duh, I can just open it and throw it down. And sometimes, if I got extra stress, I'll take 2 a day. So we have some down the back, don't we? Do we have some down the back? Can you get one just so I can show people what it looks like? Because truly, I'm surprised how many people don't know what a probiotic is, and there's lots of ways to get it. You can take it in a pill form as well, but get a good one. And a good one means that it has the bacteria that are most potent for our gut. So that means when you go to a store, you're not necessarily getting that one. Here, see it. Thank you. Yeah, there's the box. And so I have a whole box in my suitcase, and they're just these little packs that you open, throw them down. And the good news is that people might think, well, doesn't the saliva break it down? No, it's protected from the saliva and the gut acid so that it gets into the gut where it needs to work. And then I add to this a digestive enzyme, of course, with every meal. It does different things. This works on the gut bacteria. This is a probiotic. And that prebiotic is what happens more in the small intestine and the stomach. And fiber G is considered a prebiotic, fiber. And so are digestive enzymes, and they work very well together. So it's recommended that you actually use this with fiber G. You'll get more effectiveness out of using the probiotic and the prebiotic together, right? And of course, I'm sharing you this information, and you're all going to evaluate how much you need because it depends how well your gut is. If you've got 3 fluffy floaties a day, you're doing really well. I'd still give you a probiotic, but you may not need as much fiber G. But if you're pooping every 3 or 4 days, we got some work to do. And don't do it all at once. Oh my gosh, that's a big message. These are okay, just toss those down. But fiber G, which is the fiber powder, if you've got a gut that's sluggish and slow, and you give yourself 2 heaping teaspoons of fiber G, oh, you're not going to like me very much. You'll get bloating and distension and gas because your gut says, whoa, what's happening here? I'm working suddenly, all of a sudden, and I don't know how to work properly. So go easy. And I know Lad McNamara does the fiber G shots. So fiber G shots is where you get a heaped tablespoon of fiber G, put it in just a little shot glass of water, stir it around, drink it down. And because fiber is so low glycemic and also fills up your stomach, you won't eat as much with that meal because you've got a sense of fullness, and because it's a prebiotic, you'll digest better. Isn't that a great idea? And yeah, Dr. Ladd, he is just the guy. He is the guy. So another thing to think about, you probably don't want to take your bag of fiber G to the restaurant and start scooping out. You might want to put it in a little baggie, but truly, you got a glass of water, put some fiber G in, drink it down before your meal. That's a prebiotic. Certainly way better than bread, which has the opposite effect of spiking your blood sugar. So we're learning things all the time about maximal effectiveness of these products together. Of course, I'm not saying that the essentials is not essential, because it is. Our gut has a lot of work to do. And this gut here has a muscle lining that does all that peristalsis to get those fluffy floaties out. And it needs support. It needs good cellular nutrition. And it's turning over a lot. We're getting a lot of stress on our gut. In fact, while I think about it, Sonovive does some really good webinars. And I believe next week, or maybe I know I'm going to be home, so it mustn't be next week. It must be the week after. Go to sonovive.com, S-A-N-O-V-I-V, and look down on the bottom of the page. It says webinars, and they do free webinars, and there's one on leaky gut syndrome. Now, I'm going to tell you, it sounds awful, doesn't it, leaky gut? But here is my very simple explanation of what that is. If you have a lot of stinky sinkies, and this gut has to work really hard to get those things out, they're like rocks, then the gut is very inflamed because it has to work so hard. And the lining, what we call the mucosa, isn't that a great word? The mucosa of the gut starts to have little pouches, a bit like a diverticulum, little pouches. And if those pouches burst, then that is a medical emergency. That's diverticulitis. And leaky gut is when the inside of the gut starts leaking out into your abdomen. That can't be good. And it's set up by not having a good gut function in the first place. So this list is so important for many, many reasons. And I don't like to scare you, but leaky gut is I tell you, we are seeing it much more as a diagnosis. And I think it's because we're not talking about the gut. So there's your fiber G, 20 to 30 grams of fiber a day, lots of leafy greens and fresh fruit, exercise. So this small muscle of the gut, it also works when we exercise. And when you go to Sauna Vive, I know I keep talking about Sauna Vive because as a doctor, it just makes me so proud and happy to be part of this company that had the vision to create a functional medicine hospital that is based on food as medicine. And that is a story that I think we need to tell more. And when we're in Sauna Vive in the room, you get one of those little trampolines, mini trampolines, that you get to bounce on. Now, why does that work? Because the seats you're sitting on, you're not moving, which means nothing is moving. Your gut is not moving. Your blood will be sluggish. Your lymphatics will be sluggish. If I had my way, you'd all be sitting on exercise balls. But that would probably be I would get hypnotically, you'd all be going like this. I don't know if that would be such a good idea. But the mini trampoline, and replace your seat at your desk with an exercise ball so that you're sitting on something that you can actually bounce. Our bodies need to move. And yes, we all know about exercise being really important, but in the everyday life, if you are sitting, and most of us are sitting a lot of the day, you want to be on something where you move, and that will help your lymphatic system, which will help the toxins move out of your body. Very simple little solution. And of course, lots of water. Dehydration is the #1 cause of stinky sinkies. Half your body weight in ounces of water is recommended. And remember I told you that the gut is your second brain. It has its own nervous system. So when you are stressed, everything gets shut down, including your neck, and you wonder why you've got shoulders up to your ears, but also your gut is doing that too. How can it work when it's like that? So practicing, whether it's prayer, whether it's guided imagery, whether it's yoga, whether it's breathing, whatever it is, practice it on a daily basis. I call it CPR, conscious, powerful relaxation. I'm big on the mind-body connection and the power of the mind in the body. Okay, so the fourth one is replace. We are very lucky that we have tools that we can use to replace things we're doing. As a good example, so interesting, I always like to bring real-life examples, like my phone call last night with the family. So go slowly. Once you've done reset, and you've got your probiotic, you've got your digestive enzyme, you've got your fiber G, all of those I put absolutely. If you're a guest in this room, you want to make sure you have those. Probiotic, digestive enzyme, fiber G, essentials. So then what we do on a daily basis is we replace. I can't believe this family last night that the kids have cereal for breakfast every morning. Now, I know the cereal companies are making a ton of money making sugar for breakfast. So that's what it is. So what I said was, you're not only getting spiking of blood sugar in your kids, but I would also use soy milk or almond milk or coconut milk, just to, particularly, I'm not against dairy, but if a child has eczema and asthma, we got to do everything we can to reduce the inflammation of their body. So get off the cereal, get off the dairy, and see what happens. And they're going to replace their breakfast with a Nutri-Meal. Now you have chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry, so your favorite flavors, and they taste delicious. Trust me, it's amazing. Something so good for you can taste so good. And they're gluten-free. Hallelujah. Thank you, Dr. Wentz. Yes, gluten-free, the whole food line is gluten-free. That's a company that follows the nutritional recommendations of the day. And then if you have any sensitivities and you want a pure product that is dairy-free, soy-free, gluten-free, vegan-friendly, what is it that you would take? Nutrimeal-free. Nutrimeal-free, soy-free, dairy-free, gluten-free, vegan-friendly. And it's a vanilla flavor, so you can add anything to it to make it the flavor that you like. So for breakfast, if you're on the run, when I travel, I have one of those great shaker cups. Let's see that little shaker cup. Hear the little, the magic little thing inside that just shakes it up so that you get a good breakfast. I want you to have breakfast. One of the food guidelines that I have in my food plan is always eat breakfast. And eat breakfast within 1 hour of rising. So you break the fast. Otherwise, the body will say, oh, you're not feeding me. I better store fat. And it gets really good at holding on. So eat breakfast. That's another great thing about the reset. It teaches people about eating habits. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks in between, protein with every meal and snack. These are basic food guidelines. And so the protein snack bars, also gluten-free, can you believe? Fudge Delight, Peanutty Bliss, chocolate chip, yes. And my favorite, Go Nuts and Berries. Go Nuts and Berries. So the Go Nuts and Berries is, again, gluten-free, soy-free, dairy-free. So this company is making opportunities for us to personalize our nutrition plan. That is the big word. You have your health assessment to personalize your nutritional guidelines, which Dr. Carter is going to be talking about, the supplements. And you have the food products to personalize your food plan and to mix it up and to be creative. And there you can, I know my daughter, so she's, I said 20, nearly 21. Every morning she makes a shake and she's got this trick she does. We have one of those, what are those Keurig? Is it Keurig machine? Keurig. And she has her favorite little Keurig. I think she uses it's a decaf, but it's cafe mocha or something like that. She makes a Keurig, and that's her water. Instead of water, she does a coffee. She puts 1 teaspoon of the chocolate, 2 teaspoons of the vanilla, a teaspoon of Fiber G. She puts her probiotic in there. I've got her so well trained. And she gets her health pack, and it's a habit. Now, I tried to get her to do this for so long. I tried to get her to do it for so long when she was in high school. And she boo-hooed it. Now, this girl, in fact, every morning, she's living at home for 1 year because she moved from the University of Minnesota. My Californian girl went to the University of Minnesota for 1 year. Oh, it can't be that cold. So, needless to say, she's back home this year. And then she's transferring to another California school. And every morning I hear this blender going, because she works at a school and she gets up early. And of course, I have freedom in my life, so I don't have to get up at any particular time. So I hear the and as much as I don't like the noise, I think, yeah, she's doing it. So there's hope. If your kids resist this, there's hope. She does it herself, which is fabulous. And then she gets really mad when some of her friends have these other products. She comes home and she says, you know, Sylvia, she uses these other shakes called Bib. And I said, well, you need to tell her how important it is to get really high quality nutrition. So she's getting it slowly. And then in terms of sleep, so I could go all through all of these, my 8 areas, and look at supportive tools, lifestyle support tools, because just knowing the information is not enough. We need to give people tools. So the food products are fabulous tools. Let me talk about sleep for a second, and pure rest, which I'm a big fan of. So pure rest is melatonin that you put under your tongue, and it is fabulous, especially when if you're a traveler or you've got jet lag, you go internationally, and it works sublingually, but the room has to be really dark, because melatonin is made when it's really dark. And here's another thing, all the screen time we're doing on our computers, it's really affecting the melatonin production, our natural melatonin production. So that's one of the reasons that people are having issues with sleep because of all this light and screen time. So melatonin is not addictive. You can take it every night. I've had a lot of people I've been able to get off sleeping pills, which are addictive, and use the melatonin. Only take it when you're actually in bed, lights are out, you're laying down, you're ready to go to sleep, then put it under your tongue and let it dissolve. Don't take it and then walk around and do chores and delay your bedtime, because it won't work the same way. You need the dark, remember? And if your, say, partner doesn't like the dark, use those eye shades so that you really, really get the dark. And then I know Dr. Carter is going to talk about supplements, but I'm sure he's going to talk about the nutritional guide. So a lot of people ask me, well, okay, what supplements to take? And you want to look at that comparative guide to nutritional supplements, which is a guide made in Canada that is a third party. No supplement company was responsible for making this. And it rates supplements from 0 to 5, where 5 is a 5-star and 0 is a 0-star. And there is a particular company that does a lot of advertising on TV that starts with a C, and it has a 0.5 rating in this book from 0 to 5. And why? Because when companies spend a lot of money advertising, they're probably trading their good raw materials to put the money into advertising. So it's one of the reasons most of the really good high-quality supplements you cannot get over the counter, because there's a lot of money that has to be put in the marketing and the retail sales. So most of those 5 stars are only through direct distribution. So I know whoever invited you will talk to you about that. But that's what I mean by support tools. Food plan. And so what I want you to take away from here is some baby step. It's not about being perfect it's about balancing, but just take little baby steps. So who knows something they're going to do? Just shout out. What are you going to do differently as a result of what you've just heard? Fiber G. In what way? How are you going to take it? In your shake. Perfect. Go slow. If you haven't used Fiber G yet, go slow. What else? Shots. Fiber G shots. Fiber G shots. All right. Go on Facebook under Lad, and he'll give you the exact formula for those shots. Right. Who else? Who's going to do something different? Hey, what about in the back of the room? Someone back there? Probiotic. Yes, get the probiotic. The actual recommended dose on the box is 1 every other day. I take it every day. But I know this is TMI, I'm not a 3 times a day kind of gal, always. TMI. So probiotic every day would be a really good, I can't believe I said that, and I just realized this was live streamed. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes? Yes. I just heard that. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I will repeat it. So Sonovive recommends, ideally, that your probiotic be taken when you go to bed. Makes ultimate sense because we're giving our probiotic maximum time while we're resting without any other interference of any other food to work in the gut. And yes, I would agree. However, a caveat to that, I would forget. So I would forget. I even, another TMI maybe, but I'm really good at my AM supplement pack, but I don't always. Anyone else with me that the PM pack is the hard one? Okay, it's not just me. And so, yes, if you can discipline yourself to do that, I agree. But the other thing is take it whenever make sure you take it. Make sure you take it. But I think the lovely thing about Sonovive is they'll give you the exact, they'll tell you, this is how it works maximally, for maximal effectiveness in the body. So thank you for that, because I think that's going to help people take it at night. What else? What else are you going to do? What else are you going to do as a result of today? Who's going to do reset? Who's going to do reset? Okay. And I suggest you do it with a buddy, because you're much more effective when you do it with a buddy. Okay. So here are some of my lovely success stories that I like to brag about. And then I think my time is up. Brenda. Now let me just say to you that I am a health first kind of gal. I love to use the health message. And Brenda came to me through a doctor's referral. So one of my visions is with as many doctors as we can of all kinds of disciplines. They might have a busy practice, so they may not be able to spend the time with the lifestyle education, but you can be a wellness support coach for that practitioner. So this particular doctor, I connected with her and I said, hey, if you have patients that are type 2 diabetes or overweight or sugar addiction, have me call them and I can talk to them about some of the possible programs, some of the support tools. So we worked in partnership. So Brenda was one that I called, and look at Brenda, she lost lots and lots of weight using, first of all, Reset, and then all the support tools we've talked about today, and she became one of my associates because of her passion for her own journey. Because you don't want to keep it a secret. If you've had amazing results, and I know Jordan is like this, you feel so great, this is such a vision in your personal life, you want to share it. You want to share it. You know, but not so that you, I often say, vomit over people. I mean, you've got to gauge it. That's what coaching is. You've got to really listen and match the person's energy and where they're at. But when you have results like this, and another one is, this is Nan. She's in Maryland. Now, Nan, I'm about to see her because I'm doing this doctor's tour in Maryland, D.C., and Virginia just next week. And Nan came to me through one of my associates. She has the worst asthma. She has had asthma since the age of 12. And this is her in the green shirt last summer. And asthma's so bad that she's needed to be hospitalized a couple of times a year for her breathing. And she was convinced that she had this forever. And so I said, hey, let's look at how to decrease inflammation, because that's how I think. Asthma is inflammation. How do you decrease inflammation? Food first, gut health. So I got her, she did Reset, and she did Transform, 2 shakes a day. She does the essentials, proflavanol, grapeseed extract, fish oil, anti-inflammatory, probiotic, digestive enzyme. Nan now has the lungs that she had before age 12 when she first got asthma. Now, as a doctor, I can't make any claims about that other than tell you Nans' story, or better, if she was here, have her tell her own story. But it's such a powerful story. I mean, I'm a doctor and couldn't come up with this kind of result just with medicine. So we can do so much for so many people without making promises, but with doing the testimony, telling the stories of what's possible. Because inflammation is where most of disease is. And then here's Jennifer, which is Jill at the back. Jill, it's helping me with my books back there. It's her daughter. Here's beautiful Jennifer. And she lives right here in this Illinois area. Where does Jen live, Jill? Crystal Lake. And is doing bodybuilding and doing shows and not to mention the quality of life and confidence that this beautiful girl has. And now her daughter. So we have Jill, we have Jill's daughter, Jen, and we have Jen's daughter that's part of our USANA family. Yes, generational change, changing the way we look at creating health. Oh, and another Illinois, I brought all my wonderful Illinois people. So Vic couldn't come today because Rosie, who's one of my leaders, her mom's not doing really well, so she wanted to take this morning to take care of her mom. And so this is Rosie's husband that was, I tell you, so resistant. But he said, okay, if you want me to be your guinea pig. And I remember a convention a couple of years ago, Rosie came to her first convention, and she had her husband try Reset while she was at convention. And she had me call Vic to help him. Okay, now you know how to do this. 3 shakes a day, and then your snacks. If you get hungry, eat lots of vegetables. And look at Vic today. Vic is very grateful for Rosie and myself, and he's retiring this year from the school district, and they got all kinds of plans because you can when you're healthy. Health is the best wealth of all. So my time is up, and I will be here. I am not going anywhere. I want to hear all these amazing speakers and Jordan's amazing event. And I really want to applaud you, Jordan, for Jordan is the leader in USANA that is making a difference like no other. And I am so proud of you. And it's been a delight this year to be on the IDC with you. So thank you, everyone.